Hi guys, just Maddod coming at you at a Sunday afternoon, about 11 a.m. Just mastering life. Got my water bottle here. Easy way to set it on your desk and just know how much water you drank throughout the day. Have some things to talk about. I talked about it yesterday. What do you do when you don't drink and you don't do drugs and you don't smoke cigarettes and you don't gamble and you don't have anything but good habits? And I bring it up because, when I was a kid, I actually didn't know. I was like, what do people, I didn't even realize there was people out there that didn't do those things. People actually exercise and enjoy outdoor activities and enjoy something like as simple as, let me flip the camera here, show you what I got going on this lovely Sunday afternoon. This is something I do regularly. I set up my chessboard and I study chess, and I'll pull up my chess computer on my phone, and I'll play a chess game and on the phone, but then I'll do it on the board, and just sitting around relaxing, writing my notes today for my video later. This is kind of just a relaxation, let's hang out video. And to inform my listeners, my followers, that I broke my lemonade cleanse today. Didn't break my system, but I went off the master cleanse with 4 eggs. So I woke up this morning, and I'm going to go back to Friday and blame it on the last few days of, I drank some bone broth, and that sodium got in me, and it was very difficult to not eat that Friday evening. But I managed to get through. And yesterday wasn't quite as challenging, but I ate some I chewed some gum, some like sugar-free gum that has artificial sweeteners. And I didn't buy it. I just happened to I was rummaging through the bedroom. I'm renting this room, and there's another room next to me that my buddy's daughter used to live in, and it's just full of garbage. And I'm cleaning up in there and just trying to organize a little bit, kind of be helpful around the house. And I found a bunch of packs of gum and some tea. I was like, oh, I want this tea. And as I was digging up this tea, just little tea bags, I found some gum. So anyway, I chewed this gum with this artificial sweetener, and it had a very negative effect on my body. Well, it had a positive effect on my elimination. Like, it flushed me out like a saltwater cleanse, but I think it got in me that really want to eat. And so I made it through the day, though, yesterday without eating. And then so today is, so I went 13 days on the lemonade cleanse, and I'm just going to estimate that I lost about 10 pounds of body fat, maybe like 7 pounds of body fat and 10 or 11 pounds of total weight. Because as soon as you eat something, as soon as you retain water by bumping your sodium back up, you gain a little weight. Matter of fact, I can even see it in my face, just that I retained a little more. God, it looks like it anyway. From eating 4 eggs. So here's something I'm thinking about, though. I'm not like depressed or bummed out about it or anything. I mean, just in the last 30 days, I've fasted a 10-day water fast. I ate normally for a week, and now I did a what did I just say? 13-day master cleanse, and I'm down a bunch of weight, and it's only January 14th. So now I have a couple options. One of them is like, okay, just go back to work tomorrow and start on the master cleanse again. Just keep it going. You only ate one small meal. And I can do that. I really don't care which way I do it, but that I already ate the 4 eggs, I'm like, well, I have to learn how to eat. And I talked about the compartmentalization of men's thoughts. I forgot to bring up women, and this is known in psychology that it's just kind of a metaphor, an analogy that's given between men and women, where men have these boxes of thought, working on the car, his mind's on working on the car, plugging away at work, exercising, eating, you know, spending time with the family. It's all these compartmentalized areas, and where women's mind is more like a ball of twine, where everything's connected. And that's why you find women reacting a little more emotionally than men, and being a little more agreeable, because other things are tied together that men don't necessarily tie together. It's why men and women don't seem to be on the same page very often. And even two people that love each other very much, like a husband and wife, that argue about seemingly insignificant things. So it's understandable. People that love each other are going to have disputes. But so going back to the compartmentalization of my thoughts and feelings, and I think to myself, I'm so disciplined in some areas, like saving money or finances. And it's maybe because I don't love money, that it's easy for me to just put my money away before I spend, before I pay my bills, before I have extra money to go out and have a good time. I you know, I put it in a savings first, like the first thing that's done comes out of my check right in, your 401k goes in there, and your other investments go in there. Anyway, the point is, that compartment is just, it's on its own thing. If it was all tied together like a ball of twine, maybe my excessive eating would lead to excessive spending, would lead to excessive, um, but that's not as accurate as how men's minds work. And so I'm talking to myself about this morning, and now I'm talking to you about it, is figuring out how to find my box of discipline that I use when I am very disciplined, like going to the gym or exercising or working out. I love it. That box is like up here, man. I love that box. And then there's a box of like, well, like eating, like when I'm eating, it's like I'm only eating. I'm not in my discipline box. I'm not in my exercise box. I'm not in my save money box. I'm not in my, have successful relationship box. And how can I tie those together? And I just wrote a little, I was writing it out in my notebook today, and I was just like, okay, here's my, it's like, why don't I just put that eating box, and then this food is in the box because you eat food, and then put in that box my discipline, and get those two necessary things in my life on the same page, in the same box. And if I can do that, I can do that. If any man has done it, you can do it. Then you don't need to be on a fast. You don't need to be always crash dieting, because I know that doesn't work long term. Did I want to master cleanse 40 days? Yes. But if you don't eat right after that, is it going to fail? Yes. So, and I had thought about this before I started, because I set big goals for myself just so I can make it 13 days. If I say I'm going to go 13 days, then I make it 6. So I said, 40 days, hoping to make it 20, and I made it 13 or 14. Well, it was going to end up being like 19 days anyway, because we're going to pull up Monday show. Um, that's not discipline though. That's not the eating discipline. This is the not eating discipline. So this is just more over into the discipline box, where I got that. What I'm doing right now is being disciplined, and I can do that. And then when I'm eating, I'm in the eating box, and now there's food in that eating box, and there's no discipline in that box. And so I'm crossing over, and I wrote it. I actually wrote a box, and I wrote food and discipline in the same box. Not, to write it. This goes way back to, they learned about people learning and accepting habits and behaviors in their life is write it out, read it, and say it. So like read it out loud. So you write it down, and then you read what you wrote out loud, and you do it regularly. And dogs can be trained relatively quicker than a man. And so that's just something I think of too. Like, is a dog more disciplined than me? Like, let's step up our game here. So I had my black tea at 8 o'clock. I had the 4 eggs. And it was 4 eggs because there was no really decision made there. It's just I opened the fridge and it was the only food I had remaining because I knew I was going on the master cleanse that I was unable to finish. And so they were 2 weeks old, but they were still good, thankfully. Um, they were the only food I had. So now there's no more food in the house that I could eat that's fresh. No fruits or vegetables, nuts, berries, seeds, breads, besides, not fresh food. So like I have canned goods, canned vegetables, canned fruits. I have a lot of that. So canned tuna, canned meat. I have a lot of stuff like that around. So this video is just to come and hang out, and I would love it if you guys get on, and if you see me live here, to give me a thumbs up and say hi, maybe chat a little bit. We're just watching some chess videos today, and like I said, it's going on noon. I don't know if I'm gonna eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. Maybe or just eat. Um, but I'm gonna eat just okay. Let's talk about that. So I want to be like either carnivore or very close to like a keto, like a very strict keto to where it's almost carnivore. Um, I just enjoy vegetables so much that it makes it hard for me to not want a salad with the olive oil and apple cider vinegar and brown mustard with just all the low carb veggies. And like vegetable soup, very filling and low calorie and low carb. And then, of course, all the meat. So the strictest I could be would be like, and I've never done carnivore before. Every time I've even attempted to start it, I have the desire to eat more. I'll go eat a ribeye steak and I'll eat a pound of ground beef and I'll eat, for a few meals and then it's like, man, I really want some vegetables. It's funny, I didn't grow up eating that many vegetables. I guess as a kid, I mean, actually growing up, if you think of when as a child eating with your family, I mean, my mother prepared, I mean, what the food pyramid said to feed people back then, they really had people fooled with that food pyramid in the 70s. I mean, just such a upside down and backwards. I mean, no wonder. I mean, all three of my mother's children are obese, and one of them passed away by the age of 40, and she passed away by the age of 58. And, because that food pyramid was just incorrect. It had some, I don't know if it was completely nefarious as far as its intentions to harm people, but there was some evidence back then as far as preventing heart disease that, a carbohydrate based diet, there was some links to that. So, but now there's just so much more information out of, I mean, I just, I don't want to pretend to know the answers because you can watch 20 different doctors and literally get 20 different completely opposite lines of thinking and thought on eating. And I watched a pretty good interview yesterday between, oh, I can't think of the doctor's name. He's pretty popular on YouTube. He has a lot of, he's always talking about lectins and like oxalates and how to, that, eating a lot of the fruits aren't good and eating a lot of the vegetables aren't good and olive oil's great and meat and eggs are great. And then he was on a show with some opposing viewpoints. And so I appreciate doctors that'll do that. There's 3 different doctors on, 2 of them were on one side and God, I can't think of the doctor's name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but he was, he agreed to come on this show and he made a good showing of his beliefs. But the thing is, they don't know. If they knew, they'd all, it would all be agreed upon because they would just be known. They interpret research differently. They diagnose patients differently, and it's mostly the interpretation of the studies. It's just they say, well, they did this study and vegetarians live longer, and they did this study and carnivores live longer and have less, on both sides here, have less, less heart disease, less coronary, problems, less, better cholesterol numbers, better blood pressure, better blood glucose control, less kidney fat damage, less liver damage, less pancreas function better, and they have proofing numbers of it all. And, there's always extenuating circumstances that, I just try to be an objective observer of this and learn where is the truth in it all, because there has to be some truth in, for example, Japan. I mean, it's very common for people to live to 100 in Japan. And we'll have a video. We'll talk about the blue zones if you don't know what those are. But they're just areas of the world. I think they've identified like 5 areas or somewhere around there. I can't remember the exact number. You can just Google what are blue zones. And it's areas of the world where people live to be very old. Like, I think one of the criteria is that regularly, commonly live to be 100. Even in countries where like the average life expectancy is like in the mid 80s, that means people are regularly living to 100. That doesn't mean, even if you Google life expectancy of a 70-year-old, well, because they lived to be at 70, their life expectancy is now 86, so um, numbers like that, if you're 85, it means you didn't die yet, right? And that means your life expectancy is above 85, because life expectancy is an average of the total population, including SIDS, including sudden infant death. So one person dies at 0 and one person dies at 100, and you say the average life expectancy is 50. And is that an accurate way to look at it? It's like, obviously not. The person that lived to be 100. All these people that died. So these blue zones really hard to argue with me, as far as what they eat. And they do eat a lot of carbohydrates. Now, or people will say a lot of carbohydrates. And it's like, well, is it a lot or is it just a high percentage of their diet? And the answer is it's a high percentage of their diet, not a lot. Say, well, Zach, you just said the same thing. It's like, no, I didn't. Eating a lot of calories compared to those calories are a high percentage of your diet are two different things. For, if you eat 4,000 calories a day and only 50% of it or only 25% of it is carbohydrates, well, then you just ate way too many carbohydrates at a low percentage of your diet. But if you only eat 1,000 calories a day and you double the percentage and eat 50% of carbohydrates, well, now you only ate 500 calories of carbohydrates. So percentages are just a fraction of the total. So I think in these countries where they're living so long, but they eat a high amount of carbohydrates relative to the percentage of their calories, is because they eat so little. And and I'm just looking at it. What seems to be the common factor of these people in these Inuits eat almost all fat and meat, and it's they eat little, and these people eat raw fish and seaweed and rice, and like 50% of their calories are from rice and carbohydrate, and it's because they eat so little, and they're very small people. Um, and I never see this in any of the videos, but I've looked it up, and like life expectancy by height and weight, and there's a direct correlation. The taller you are, the lower your life expectancy. It's like, why? Because you're bigger. Bigger makes you not live as long. And so that's why I've never had, I was exactly average height in America 20 years ago, which was like 5'8 3/4. And now the average height in America is like 5'10. I was like, I feel like I'm getting shorter, but I'm the same height. I go to the mall and these 16-year-old girls and boys are all taller than me. I don't feel so bad about it when I realize, the smaller you are, the longer you live, and the better you live, and the healthier you live. So, and I think about Roman soldiers. The average Roman soldier was like 5'6", 170 pounds. And just dominated the known world for 600 years. As far as stature, if you want to say, you're bigger and badder than somebody. I mean, I'm a muscular, strong, and I, trained fighter and was a good street fighter and blah, 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 blah. I held my own my whole life. It means absolutely nothing to me. I want to be healthy. I want to have longevity. So, where are we at? So we're talking about this discipline being in the eating box. So what's in the box right now is food and discipline. I even have it. Yeah, I got my little box there. And just how to rock steady with that. And I think a couple of the ways, well, I think weighing myself not every day, but maybe weekly or monthly, just to make sure I'm on track. But you know you're on track, right? So it's one of those things, like maybe just to motivate myself on the first of every month. Maybe I'll write that, weigh on first. And because we got 12 months here, guys, and we got to lose a lot of weight in 2024 because it's the bomb. And it's been stated and it's going to blow up. So the 4 eggs. So my black tea, I felt great. It was just plain 2 bags of black tea. Wakes me up. I get going. I did do some jumping jacks. Let's now that I think about it, guys. This is just a hanging out video. Let's see if you can see. Could you see if I come over here and go down on the floor? Got my heater here. Got my chair. Let's just knock out a set of push-ups while we're here, guys. There's a 2-0 for a hero. It's just one of those things, guys, I'm talking about. Staying moving. Keeping your body active. Do some jumping jacks. Oh, I'm shaking the floor around too much. I don't want my landlord downstairs to freak out. I did a set of 50 jumping jacks a little while ago on a more solid floor downstairs. So get your heart moving, get your blood circulating. Keep drinking your water. So how do I keep this discipline in the food, in the eating box? And it's I'm going to write down how, and then I'm going to write right underneath why. And then the arrow down from that is the right decision. And I'm going to write victory after that. It's like how, who cares? How will come to you. How is not the way to get inspired. Why is how you get inspired, right? And the whys are always positive. They're a lot more positive. Like, why do I want to be disciplined in my eating now? Whereas I didn't before. Well, I didn't before because I wanted to enjoy the addiction of the gluttony and the chemical addiction to the food, and especially those junky carbs. Let's get back to those blue zones. Let's talk about longevity, where we're coming. So right under the blue zones, I'm just going to write small. It's small meals. It's small people. It's, like the Mediterranean. A lot of the blue zones, a couple of the blue zones are around the Mediterranean. Is it Sardinia? Yeah, one of them islands. And just because these are identified blue zones, there's other areas of the world too where, they might not live to be 100, but let's say 95, whatever. Living a lot longer than Americans do anyway, and living well. And a lot of them is just lower access to processed foods, or just, they're smart enough to just not even have. If we just quit buying them, guys, they won't be in the stores. They'll have to provide the healthy options. And I understand it's a it's a poverty thing with the processed foods, because our poor people in this country are the fatter, are more overweight than rich people. It's the only country where it's like that. Like in the history of the world, poor people historically were the skinny, tiny, starving people, and they probably lived longer than their big fat king. So I'm just looking at my planner here, and thankfully it's Sunday, so I only have this one day to eat, and then I'll be back to work tomorrow. And oh, so let's just talk about my four. Well, it's gonna be 7 days on this time, but normally it's a 4 day work week for me, all 12 hours, and then I have 4 days off usually. So what I'm gonna do on the 4 days of work is do like a keto carnivore OMAD. So just because I've done that before and with relative ease, I've been able to just because it's so easy to not it's so much easier to just not have to pack a lunch and not I don't really even go on breaks when I'm at work. I just work, and when I don't really have anything to do, I just walk around and do my job again and again, even that I don't have to. I'll just do the same rounds of inspections, and I'll just do them again and again and again and again. And just to stay busy and make the 12 hours fly by and to get my walking in. Like I'm doing it, for personal gain as well as, just being a good worker and getting my job done, above and beyond. I don't even tell my bosses, I just do it. Um, so that'll be easy on my four on, like, for example, I'll just, get home from work at about 6:45, 6:50, before 7 p.m., and then just take about 1 hour to eat and be done eating by 8, and then I normally go to bed about 10:30. So just have that one meal and have it just throw like a ribeye in the air fryer, or fry a pound of hamburger with some onions and mushrooms, or something like that where it's very low carb. As much as I want to do the carnivore, like every time I even start thinking about the food options, and there's obviously just more disciplined people out there because, as far as the food options is where this tangent is going off, is there's this YouTube woman, and I don't know if she's a Asian. She's, I think she's Asian. I've only watched her channel a couple times. I can't remember if I subscribe to it or not, but she's called like what is it called? Like something in butter or something. Like she only eats like the combination of five things, and she's been doing it for over 5 years. And I don't even think she had to lose weight. She was vegan before that, and then she switched to this carnivore, and she eats a total of five things. It's like beef, butter, eggs, olive oil, something like that. No, not olive oil. The carnivore people don't eat olive oil. It's not animal based. But anyway, so great health benefits, great, skin can. Oh, that's what it was. She did it to clear up her skin. As a vegan, her skin was all broke out, and then she went on carnivore, and her skin's perfectly clear. And it's just some allergies some people have to vegetables. um Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson's daughter, is a great example of that, where she had like lifelong severe allergic reactions to almost all foods, and to the point where I want to say she's right around 30 years old now, maybe early 30s or late 20s, I can't remember, but same thing, tried every diet and just started eliminating foods out, and it got eliminated all the way down to beef, and just like ruminant meat, beef, and buffalo and elk and stuff like that. That's all she eats is like a steak a day or a steak every other day even. And that can be so effective for, but see, I don't have like all these allergic reactions, and which makes me not be as disciplined. And it's like sometimes it's like people like that are almost lucky, and maybe they'd laugh in my face if I said that to them, but it's like, hey, you have all this discipline because of this health issue you had. For example, I consider myself lucky to have gotten diabetes. It's like I never thought I would have quit drinking. I never saw it as an issue or a problem. It was just something I enjoyed. Where now, thank God, I got diabetes, and I rarely ever drink. For like I told you yesterday, I was digging around in the bedroom, and I found a bunch of packets of tea that had just got dumped out of this box. So I knew they didn't want they wanted the box more than they wanted the tea, and I found the gum. Well, as I was digging around, I also found a big bottle of like banana rum. I didn't want that. I just left that in the closet. I took, but I grabbed the gum. I was like, oh, this will be just some flavor in my mouth. And ugh, those artificial sweeteners. Man, if you want to clean yourself out if you haven't eaten in a couple of weeks, so that bloosh, that blew me out badly. So I think that's gonna be fairly easy though. Just get up and go to work. Drink my water. Drink my black tea. Drink my water. Maybe take a an electrolyte tablet or two. My fasting salts, but they're also if you just buy electrolyte powders. Um, I don't drink Gatorade, stuff like that's terrible. Almost everything, like if you go to a convenience store and go to the drinking, all them freezer or cooled sections, cooled drinks, refrigerated drink, all terrible. There's not a single thing in there that you should be consuming besides the water. And if that's I mean, when I grab a water in that situation, I usually pick the spring water. So black tea and water, my spring water, and some electrolytes will be if you're not on fork crew like I am. See, to me, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. But let's just say you do that Monday through Friday. That would be a convenient way to stick to this type of routine. And then on your weekends, you can do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and just stick to very low carb. And so, really, when I think about what I want to do with my life, because I don't want to be a carnivore like my whole life, I don't want to be on very, very low carbs my whole life. I want to do it to lose weight, and then I want to reintroduce rice, especially. If I had a choice of bread, pasta, rice, some of the options as far as the carbohydrates go. If you could like bread, pasta would probably be the last, although I do like it. I think it's the least versatile though. And then I think rice and bread are about tied for how much I like it, but maybe I even like bread more. But rice is just so much more versatile as far as what you can do with it and how you can cook with it. And, making fried rice, for example, and how do you mix it with different meals. And like eating in the Philippines, really, I already enjoyed rice. I have big buckets of rice here. Probably getting a little old now. I should probably throw it away and buy new stuff. But learning how to eat with it, and like they don't use utensils very often as far as they don't use chopsticks in the Philippines, which I didn't realize until I went there. As far as the Asian or Asians, they're not really like that Asian. They're almost more like South American type. Even the way they look, they don't look very Asian, and they don't eat like as very Asian-y either. They have some influences from other countries and other occupations, and America was there. We had two military bases there for 50 years, and obviously the Spaniards were there. That's why they're called the Philippines, King Philip, and blah blah blah. And anyway, it learned how to eat with this rice, and even when they make soup, I was like, well, how do they eat soup? Like they don't use a spoon to eat, and then you watch and they make a bowl of soup, and they just pour a little bit of it on the rice and then eat the rice. It's just funny. Like, what? That was. I figured, they must just drink it out of a little cup or something. It's like, no, no, they use it as a flavoring for the rice. Like take out a vegetable, take out a piece of meat, and then put a little of the broth over the rice and eat it like that. So I love eating like that. It's so enjoyable. The new profile picture on my YouTube manufacturer with that fish and the rice and the soup and some seaweed there. That was like one of my favorite meals when I was in the Philippines. It's just really awesome grilled ocean fish and just fresh rice and fresh seaweed and some fish soup there with some veggies. It's just all amazing and just so healthy. And so went off on that tangent because I was talking about how I want to eat the rest of my life, and it's more in line. And maybe I'll go back and read the book. I think I actually have that book. Yeah, I do. Well, I threw away all my books. I didn't throw them away, but I brought them to the bookstore, and they threw them away because I brought like 200 books to one of these used bookstores to sell, and they said, "Oh, we'll give you like $40," and I was like, "Ah, sweet." I really didn't think I'd get that much for them, and And then they showed me a stack of books about like this big that they were buying for $40, and the whole plastic bin I had just packed full of books they didn't want. But they shredded them up. They said, "Oh, we'll take them off your hands if you we shred them up so they can be reused." And it's all legit. I saw them hauling them out the back, um, because they don't want to sell. And I get it was they were just such old books, like you open the book that you've had in storage and it snaps the binding immediately. So anyway, it brings me back to this Dr. Adkins New Diet Revolution book, and this is the completely updated third edition. And when you read the phases of this book, and I don't even I don't like to say I'm on anybody's particular diet, but this diet just it addresses the issues. Originally it was designed to cure diabetes, but it doesn't even say that in here because they want, he didn't make any money curing diabetes because Americans are too stupid to know that we're all going to have diabetes like within the next 5 years, like the way the country's going. So he changed it into a weight loss book, which of course Americans will jump all over a weight loss book. It's basically, go carnivore, in phase one until until you're like within a certain percentage toward your goal weight. Like let's say you're 250 pounds and you want to weigh 150 pounds, and once you hit 180, then go to phase two, and or just go phase one as long as you can, and then go to phase two because you continue to lose weight. And it really combines all of these other diets. And I've even brought it up to younger guys, like when keto first got popular, and I was like, well, sounds almost exactly like one of the phases of Dr. Atkins, diet revolution, the Atkins diet. Yeah. And they're like, what's the Atkins diet? These younger generation, they're just too young to have known that, all this stuff was already known. And, the whole keto, that just went crazy over the last, this is like one of the most searched terms on Google, for like the last 10 years. Um, but I talked about it last year, probably in January, February, March, somewhere in there, where I busted out the Atkins book again, and I was like, well, let me. And here's what I was doing. I was fasting for the 4 days, and then I was like doing Atkins for 4 days, or fasting 4 days and doing keto for 4 days, and and I switched it up and switched it up because I got bored. And it's like, well, that's kind of included in the Atkins diet, So, like for example, chapter 11 in this book, it goes on 10 chapters of just getting you to believe and understand how this diet works, and that, to get you to be on board before we tell you exactly what to do. Because when you know why you're doing it is a lot more important of what to do, because if you know the why, you'll do the what, and the how. So, just an example here, it just shows acceptable foods on the induction phase. And induction, it means it's inducting you into this diet and inducing ketosis. And it talks about ketosis in this book even. So it's just no doubt this is where they got the keto diet from. It's just like stay on phase one forever. And that is not what Dr. Atkins intended. But so it's like all fish, and it names a bunch of fish. All fall, and it names a bunch of fowl. Chicken, well, fit tuna, salmon, chicken, turkey, duck, goose, all shellfish, lobster, oysters, mussels, clams, squid, all meat, beef, pork, lamb, bacon, veal, ham, venison, although it's got some asterisks next to bacon and ham and mussels and oysters, and it's just talking about processed meats. And totally agree with that. They call it dirty keto, like if you want to go on keto, but you're going to throw in some bacon and some hot dogs and some ham and some processed sausages. Yeah, they're keto, but they're so full of chemicals, and those chemicals can throw you off so bad. As far as not for your weight loss, you probably lose even more weight because it's poisonous and your body's trying to reject it, and it just blow you out and give you diarrhea and you lose water weight. But that's not healthy weight loss. So there's asterisks on that. It's like, yeah, you can eat a couple slices of bacon with your eggs in the morning, but don't go overboard. And then all eggs, and it names, of course, it's not even naming different types of eggs, but just different ways to cook them: scrambled, fried, poached, soft boiled, hard boiled, deviled eggs, omelets. It's just telling you, giving you different ways to eat eggs. And I love eggs so much. I'm definitely gonna go pick up some more eggs because that was my last little batch of eggs. Matter of fact, I should probably make a Sam's Club run, or a maybe a Trader Joe's run. Let me write that down. Um, as my one of my commenters, I can't remember if that was my most frequent commenter was. Okay, other acceptable foods in induction is cheese. You can consume 3 to 4 ounces of cheese daily, and then you want the full fat, firm, soft, and semi-soft aged cheeses, including cheddar, cream cheese, mozzarella, Swiss, and it can be from cows, sheep, and goats. And then you can have Gouda and some blue cheeses. So for me, like on this list, um, it's just it says 4 ounces a day, and that's a lot of cheese um, to eat all at once. But if you just like use a couple ounces on your omelet and put a slice on, like making a hamburger patty with a slice of cheddar, I'm just saying it'd probably be a good idea to minus the cheese out if you don't know how to limit it, like because I love cheese and I can put 4 ounces of cheese on. I said it's a lot because it's I'm trying to trick my mind into saying that is because 4 ounces is a lot of calories of cheese, but like I could easily eat an 8 ounce block of cheese just as a snack, while I'm sitting around waiting for my food to cook. So I'm going through all how to be on this induction phase, and it doesn't really give you a complete macro, but it's like, eat liberally of combinations of fat and protein in the form of poultry, fish. So, it's even in here, it says like butter and real mayonnaise, olive oil. This even says other vegetable oils, but I wouldn't. But see, he's only talking about weight loss, and he didn't know, because this is like 20, 30-year-old book. But he's talking about eating less than 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. And oh, surprise, surprise, that's exactly what all the keto um, advocates propagate as well. And it's like, well, where did they get it? I got it right out of this book. They just repurposed it and came up with their own ideas to make money off of what Dr. Atkins worked on. Eat absolutely no fruit, bread, pasta, grains, starchy vegetables, dairy products other than cheese, cream, or butter. Do not eat nuts or seeds in the first 2 weeks. Foods that combine protein, carbohydrates such as chickpeas, kidney beans, other legumes are not permitted at this time. So the point I'm getting at is this book transitions you completely into that you can eat all food groups, but that you're at your goal weight and that you're monitoring it at a level to know exactly how much. For me, let's say I want to eat rice. That's probably going to be my staple carbohydrate when I get to that point. Let's say by the end of this year. Well, I need to know, can I eat, let's just say uncooked rice? Can I eat a whole cup of uncooked rice? Because does that make 2 cups of cooked rice? Or three? I can't even, I always forget. I think it doubles the volume once you cook it. But whatever it is, let's say just 2 cups of cooked rice. Is that, because what would that be? Is that like 400 calories? Is that too many carbohydrates to maintain my body weight at my current or whatever that day fit, activity level is? Am I walking? Am I jogging? Am I hitting the gym? Am I doing push ups, crunches, planks, and walking? Because my routine, I've always worked out, whether I've been in shape or way out of shape. It's kind of funny. I've just always been into lifting and fitness and strengthening my muscles, but I've just never been as committed as I should be to just overall health and fitness and health and wellness. So it is getting to be close to lunchtime, but I didn't eat the 4 eggs until 9, so I don't think I really need to eat at noon. So I'll probably wait till 1 or 2 and have. And it's got to be in this box, guys. And I think maybe part of how I stay so disciplined, like on my 10-day water fast, I went live almost every day. And on my 13-day lemonade cleanse, uh, I went live almost every day or even multiple times a day. So maybe that's part of what I need to do when I'm not fasting is to get on here and just break it down and be honest and be open and maybe even eat my meals live, and be like, I am going to lose a ton of weight this year, and wouldn't it be easy? Zach, what did you do? And it's like, well, why don't you go back and you watch where I ate them 4 eggs, and I'll literally there'll be a video. Maybe I should have recorded myself cooking them even, cooked it, ate it. That was breakfast, and then, looking at the cost of carnivore, for example, and the cost of like phase 1 of Atkins, it makes me think of, it's the cheapest food to eat is just pure poison. That's why it's cheap, because the government subsidized sugar and flour, if you don't know it. So these food companies can just get sugar and flour for pretty much free, compared to, relatively speaking, for the profit they can make on it. And, and just make poisonous snack cakes and junk food. And, like granola bars being promoted as a healthy food option or a healthy snack. I mean, they're terrible for you. They're sugar and flour and processed grains. They're absolutely terrible for you. So the point of it, though, it is a little bit costlier to eat the fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and berries and meats and salads and stuff that you need to eat. But the way for me to justify, well, for one, health is more important than money, but to reduce the amount you spend, then, if you're really that, frugal with your food spending, is to eat less. It's a if money is more important than your health, well, then tell yourself you're going to eat only healthy food, and then be greedy with your money and just eat less. You're going to live on a ribeye diet, and we'll eat 6 12-ounce ribeyes a day is going to get a little spendy pretty quick. Maybe you drop that down to just one ribeye a day. I knew a guy, this is maybe 10 years ago at work. He didn't work there that long, a couple of years. He had a big pot belly. I think he didn't really look Mexican, but maybe South American of some kind, maybe from Nicaragua or Honduras or something. He was a super nice guy. And he had a big pot belly, and somebody teased him in front of a woman that worked in the office, and it was a young girl. She was an intern, and she didn't work there very long either. And she came and went, but he was so embarrassed. He was humiliated in front of her, in front of some other men. That's what men do, by the way. Humiliate each other in public to exert their dominance. I don't like doing that. I prefer to invite guys across the street and show them that they really don't want to fight about it, and you don't dominate me in any way. That what he did was, he lost a ton of weight in like 3 months, 4 months, to where he was skinny, like huge pot belly, like bigger than mine, to skinny. And I had no idea what he did, because I didn't really talk to him much. He was in a different department. He was like I said, he was kind of like an intern too. And I just walked by him one day and I said, "Hey, what did you do to lose so much weight so fast? Would you just go on a steak a day diet?" And I was kind of joking, but I had heard this, like I said, this is like 10 years ago. So keto had you started hearing about it, even 10 years ago. And he kind of looked at me like I must have heard from somebody else. And he's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I just didn't eat at work." And then he worked a 8-hour day. So he got up at 3 o'clock and he went home, and, whatever, 4 or 5 o'clock, he grilled up his steak or fried up the steak, and he ate it. And he said he put some condiments on it, like maybe some, I don't put condiment on my steaks. What is it called? Like A1 or that other brand. So he had some sugar in there, but not much, and just one steak a day. And he would just disappeared, so it's like getting humiliated in a public humiliation, which up till about the age of 40 or 50, humans actually fear public humiliation over death. Um, so that's kind of it can kind of be a blessing, right? You got to look at, let's say my haters, like David Goggins, he would write down his haters' comments online, and read them out. He would record himself reading them out and then play them to himself while he needed motivation. And you know what? I'm gonna do that too. I've been talking about it. I have some incredible haters at my work, which they're good guys. I don't hate them at all. Um, I'm something they wish they could be. I joke to people like I was a paratrooper, and so there's like 35 veterans at my company out of 200 people. And I always joke, there's a dozen former Marines and a dozen former Army and a dozen former Navy, but there's only one paratrooper. So, and I joke about it because it's so long ago to me, I don't even hardly identify with it. I mean, I'm so much more of a Christian than anything else. Like I identify as a Christian more than I'm a dad, more than I'm a paratrooper, more than I'm a worker at my job, more than I'm a husband. I'm a Christian over everything. And not that being a paratrooper, I don't have some honor and pride from serving in that division. It's not everything to me. So I joke, and it's people just hating on me. Like I'll be like, there can be only one. Of course, there's hundreds of thousands of former paratroopers in the country, so record my haters' comments. So I'm not gonna record them saying it, but I know what they've told me, so I'm just gonna record it out on my phone, and then I'm gonna play it to myself when I need a little motivation of why. And it shouldn't be the only thing that drives you, but if it can be something that drives you, and I consider David Goggins to be one of the most criminally insane driven human beings. Like, is he crazy? Like, yes, that dude is crazy, but it's the good crazy. It's the kind of crazy I like. I like a little crazy. Like my fiance before we got engaged, she's kind of warning me, like, are you sure you really love me? I can be crazy, and I'm like, it's not that I love you despite you being crazy, honey. It's like I love you because you're crazy. And of course it's not the bad crazy. It's the good crazy. Um, American woman crazy, no interest. Filipina crazy, I love. So as I'm talking to you guys, I'm getting more and more confident. I'm getting more inspired. Knocking out a set of 2-0 push-ups like a hero. Oh, by the way, yesterday when I did those 200 push-ups, 200 squats, 5-minute plank, and ended up being like 6 miles of walking or jogging. I did the first 80 push-ups just straight up on my hands and feet, and then I did no the first 100. The set from 80 to 100, I dropped to my knees like somewhere in the middle of that set because I finally gave out. And then the squats I did all pretty decent. Um, and the second 200 push-ups though were all from my knees. And then I also did do some lifting weights, a little bit of a weightlifting routine there. At the end, I didn't even talk about because it's not something I'm recording, but just I did some incline dumbbell press, and I was watching David Goggins again, also to one of the podcasts, and he's talking about like grabbing a set of whatever exercise you're doing, that you can do 100 reps of it. And I have heard other people talk about this too, not so much for like building big muscles, but building dense muscles and burning fat. Like if you want to burn fat, you want to do long, easy. Well, they end up being hard because even grabbing 10 pounders at the end, I mean, I was like, or was it 15 pounders? I think I was gonna grab 15, knowing that I could probably easily do 15-pound dumbbells, 100 reps of incline dumbbell press. I was like, well, let me just go easy because I know how I am. Once I get started, I'm not going to stop no matter how much pain I'm in. So I was like, let me just grab the 10 pounders. And by the time I got about 50 reps, I was like, my God, am I glad I grabbed these 10 pounders because, those muscles start building up that lactic acid. And even though you have the strength to do it, there's the pyruvic acid is not converting the lactic acid out of your muscles fast enough. And that's where that pain's coming from. And there's just nothing you can do about it. You got to just pump through that pain. And there must be some mechanism in that whole physical process that enhances fat burning. So I'm happy to do some workouts like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna add that in. That I'm gonna continue because the push-ups, the squats, the planks, and the walking is really not related to anything except for it's a January goal. So I'm just gonna be pushing on those all January, and I got it. I have it all recorded in my my book here. So the 13th was yesterday. Yep, 200, 5 minutes of plank and 5.6 miles of walking. And then today, well, I just did 20 push-ups. I did, so like I did some jumping jacks earlier. I did 50, 60 today. Not part of that. Obviously you can do more. You can always go overboard, guys. I know this is a shitty time to have viewers on YouTube, noon on a Sunday. So I've seen Wonderson come and go about 5 or 10 times. But nobody's hanging around. If you do, just catch the video later and you watch some of it. I'm already like 55, 56 minutes in, so I doubt too many people are going to watch the whole video. But to hit that thumbs up, share the video on your Facebook and just say, hey, this is a cool guy that's got a YouTube. He's not trying to be a millionaire or nothing. He's just trying to lose weight and share along with the community to help people lose weight as well. And I gotta be honest, I just, every part of Atkins, it's like, well, I'm not gonna do Atkins, I'm gonna go to keto. And it's like, yeah, that's part of Atkins. It's like, well, I'm not gonna do Atkins, I'm gonna do paleo. And it's like, paleo is literally like one of the phases. Like keto is one of the phases. Paleo is one of the phases. It's like, well, I just wanna eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and reduce my calories and my carbs down to a point, where I can maintain my weight and be healthy, but I can still eat a little rice and eat fruits and eat vegetables and eat meat and eat eggs. It's like, yep, that's one of the phases of Atkins, so it's like, it's literally all in here. And since I was diagnosed with diabetes at one time, and this book was designed originally to cure diabetes, this is probably a very good reference tool for me. I mean, it may be a little bit of outdated medical advice in some of the areas, but all I have to do is just, look up to the more up to date. And I never did finish reading this book like front to back. I've made it to 21. Like once I got to like chapter 20 where the 24 part 4 disease prevention, like I believe in it so much that it's like I don't need to read that. I already believe in it so much. But if I look at part 4 chapter 24 here, disease prevention, and you turn the page and it's the perilous path of diabetes, the very first disease it's going to talk about. And it just shows how to, stage 1 is insulin resistance. Like they act like they just figured this out when this dude wrote this book like 30 years ago. He already knew about it. The ancient Egyptians knew about it. And then you got stage 2 is insulin resistance plus hyperinsulinemia, which makes your pancreas is just pumping out so much insulin. That's the bad part. That's how you know that their doctor's treatment of diabetes today, and it has been for at least 30 years, because my dad's had diabetes for over 30 years, and they've been pumping him full of insulin ever since. That can't possibly be the answer, because it's actually the problem. It's the stage 2 problem of getting diabetes, is having too much insulin in your body. So then it just shows all the stages, and it shows normal ranges, and and it's this book is just so money in the bank that I think I'm gonna just not so much focus on it, but have it as a reference tool, as a belief system to a diet system that I believe in, not a belief system. I believe in the Bible only. I believe in the saving grace of Jesus Christ only. That's really all you need to know. If you watch this channel and you need all the answers, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then there's a period. So don't tell me when that was, how that was, how far ago, if it included the Big Bang. It was the Big Bang. God is the Big Bang. Big Bang is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. The more you read about it and get into it, alternate universes and non-physical realities and blah 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 blah. They contradict themselves 1,000 times, and then their belief system, when you dig deep enough into it, ends up being 10 times harder to believe than there was an entity, God, that created all things that we're aware of, that we're able to be aware of at this time. After we move on to the spirit world, maybe there's way more to it than we can possibly fathom, and I'm assuming that to be the case. Although the Bible's pretty complete, in the beginning, that's God. In the end, that's God. I'm the Alpha and Omega. Um, And the Bible goes on from there. But my point was, I believe that more than anything else. And if you get anything out of this channel, go read the Bible and make some comments on that, and we can chat about that all day, every day. Really looking to turn the channel into a little more professional format. Guys, I normally just go live and I don't edit my videos, and I got laundry basket in the background and I'm just chatting. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get some better microphone and better equipment. I'm just going live even on my phone right now. I got my chess video still going. I could probably hear him in the background. I like the Pierce defense and the King's Indian for black, and I use the Joe Baba London for white, and I'm not loving the Joe Baba London, so I think I'm going to start doing the King's Indian Attack for white and the King's Indian Defense for black. Very common systems, so you kind of just do it's a system for black, the King's Indian Defense with the Pierce defense, depending on what moves white makes and what move order they use. But you take that same setup and use it for white, and it can be just as effective. So it's super fun. If anybody, I know a lot of my family and friends watch my YouTube videos. Probably only the 20 or 30 views I get on most of my live videos are from people I know personally. Maybe half of them are from people I know personally. So if you want to play chess and read the Bible, those are two things I love to do. So give me a call. So why, guys? Why do it? Why struggle? Why? Because it's a struggle to be unhealthy. It's a struggle to be fat. It's a struggle to be out of shape. I've known more people. Let's say the discipline, the regret. You're gonna suffer one of those two things. I've heard more people complain about their regret than I have complain about their discipline. Think about that. Read that twice. How many people have you heard like, God, I wish I went to the gym so many times last year. I'm just ripped. Yeah, I wish I went running every morning. My body fat percentage is so low. I'm probably gonna live forever. They're just big fat crybabies all the time, including myself. So it's like, let's turn the page on that whole process. All right, guys, this is getting to be, well, it's over an hour live. Well, training is, if you're on YouTube, let's see here. What else can we do? We can bust out some filters, guys. Basically, it's like when you work out. You make me a little more interesting here. Oh, here we go. Let's just make bubbly Zach. Oh man, I could have been disco ball Zach the whole time. You guys. Ooh, skeleton. Oh, it's like I'm a drawing. I kind of like being a drawing. Negative. What's this one? Bossestas. Ooh, that was kind of neat. I like that one. You can almost still see the color, but it just looks cool. What's this? Start a poll. Should I start a poll asking if I should start a poll? Save, highlight, mute microphone. Let's share. We'll share onto your groups. How many groups am I in? And then I was gonna go back and collect the points. Also here they do have played. Just bring the group down. Checking my updates here. I'm gonna check to see how many games I've played. Right. Let me take a quick moment here. Just to go to what? Guys, I talk a little bit about finance. And don't talk much about it though, because I'm not a big proponent of giving a shit so much about money, but um, I will just say that, Bitcoin has been around now for what, like 15 years? We're going on, something like that. 14 years. It's a multiple of four because this year is the halving. Um, it's fake money, it's online money, but look, Google fiat money systems. The US dollar is a fiat. It's defined as a fiat money. It means it's fake. It means it has no backing. We're off the gold standard. There's dollars are being printed at the highest rate of any cash in the world. It's the only reason it has any value is that the feds, the world goes by the dollar. Like if France buys gas from Saudi Arabia, they do it in dollars. And you have all these countries trying to go off the dollar and trying to get onto their own currencies and kind of avoid that backing, that need for the dollar. BRICS is one of the, what does BRICS stand for? Brazil. What's the BRICS? What's the R? Russia. What's the I? India, China, South Africa, something like that. I might have been wrong about the India. Maybe the I is Iran or something. I can't remember. But BRICS is trying to establish their own trade, and there's countries trying to join BRICS, and BRICS is trying to invite other countries, and but a lot of countries are allies with the U.S., so they're not going to do it, and the dollar still has some value, only for the reason that I just stated as far as world currency, but as far as printing it, it's why inflation is so bad. They shouldn't be printing more money. They should be like buying dollars off the market to, so that you want to bump the minimum wage up to $20 and then make groceries twice as expensive. And it's like, you did not come ahead at all. I mean, I make good money. I don't take home good money because I pay child support pretty heavily still, but, and I'm not complaining about that. But my point is, I rent a room right now because I can't afford to buy a house. I can't afford to rent a decent apartment. Like, I mean, I'm a full time employee at a way above average paying job, and I can't afford hardly anything, And well, it's partly my fault because I save. I say what I can afford is after my savings, and so I do save money. If I didn't save money, I could afford to at least rent an apartment. But my point is, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get ahead of this dollar? And so I mentioned Bitcoin, and man, somebody told me to buy it in like 2009, 10, when I was building a bug out bag, and I was on this bug out channel, kind of a hobby. Being a military veteran, I enjoy building bug out bags. It's kind of fun to me. Like, what do you need? The 10 C's of survivability, cut, cordage, combustion, cover, container, candle, cotton, whatever. It's 10 C's, cargo tape, canvas, needle, whatever. And he said to buy this Bitcoin. And it was way back then, it was so unknown. It was 6 cents per Bitcoin. And he said, just buy a $25. You can order them online, and they'll send you like a cash card. It'll have it 25 Bitcoin on it. And it's like, man, right now the 25 Bitcoin would be worth like $3 million. Would have cost me 25 bucks. So anyway, if you look at the inflation rate of the dollar compared to Bitcoin, and I brought up housing. So over the last few years, if you look at how much a house costs in the dollars, it's up, like significantly. But if you compare it to Bitcoin, like if you had Bitcoin a few years ago compared to having dollars, the price of houses actually went down like 78% because the Bitcoin has outperformed the dollar by that much. And so the reason I bring that up is, and do your own research. Don't buy Bitcoin because I told you to. I would definitely say buy a tenth of a Bitcoin though if you want to be a part of the future of money. And just, you heard it here first. Buy 1/10 of a Bitcoin and never sell it, no matter how much it's worth. I told you to do it. Don't do it. Do it. It's up to you. I will come on here and say I told you so in about 1 year. Okay. You're just not gonna outpace. Working for a living is never gonna get you there. Like I said, I make significantly above, and a lot of my friends make significantly above the state average. Definitely way above the national average, because some states have such a recessed economy compared to Minnesota. But and I'm not bragging about it. I'm actually complaining about it, because people that work where I work retire, and they work till their mid 60s, and some of them even till they're 70, and then die 18 months later, like the one guy did. He retired at 70 and died at 71 and a half. He's like, oh, I'm so rich, he made all this money. And it's like, yeah, you worked until you died. That's great. And his life was easy. Not that working's like I'm against working, but like if you can retire and enjoy some life without having to work every day, man, it's amazing. And I really wouldn't even have been able to accurately say that without having spent a month in the Philippines, where I kind of felt retired. And like, how would it be to just wake up every day and do what you want? Go to the gym and go for a walk and eat healthy. And, man, it was just great. So I'm laying all that foundation down to say, like Bitcoin is really looking like, to me, and a lot of these cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is the only one that there was an ETF, BlackRock, and these big investment groups. Um, I think there was about a half a dozen of them. They just had their, the SEC just approved some ETFs. So now you have Bitcoin that are going to include ETFs. So you're going to have people that have like 401k plans, where they're going to, they're going to have some options to be able to start shifting some of their assets into Bitcoin. You're going to have like a fund that, it might be a managed fund, and that fund is going to include some of its portfolio in Bitcoin. And that is a significant event in monetary history. So I think it could, and then on top of that, so it's January 14th, 2024 right now. Zach coming at you with the Bitcoin prediction. You got the ETFs just got approved, and the market went up. The Bitcoin market went way up like that day, and then it bombed back down like a day later. But I think it was just people cashing in, and short guys betting and getting cleaned out, and long guys come picking it back up. But it's steadily been rising, and the demand is just not even kicked in yet. Because the ETFs just got approved. It's not like overnight all of a sudden this. So you have these like day traders and big time multimillionaires and billionaires manipulating the market and making a ton off of it. That's great. I don't, I'm not a part of that. I don't have enough money to, make $10 million in one day with my $500 million trades. But, if you can get, even if you could just afford to buy one whole coin, like if it's less than 10% of your net asset value, I would recommend to do that. But where I'm at, I'm just saying, guys, you're not going to get ahead with the dollar anyway. What if you lose your money? Well, dollars are lost, so it's a way to potentially in the next 1 to 4 years. I'm looking, because April this year. So in like 3 months, February, March, April, the halving is going to occur. So every 210,000 blocks that are broken and that are decoded by Bitcoin miners. It started out, you got 50 Bitcoin per block, and then it went to 25, then it went to 12 and a half, then it went to 6 and a quarter, and it's halving again this April. So the supply is going to be significantly lower, and the demand is going to be significantly higher. And if you know anything about marketing, that is what drives industry. It's what drives prices higher. For example, oil barrels less than it was 20 years ago, and gas is more. It's like, how is that? And the supply is the same, but the demand's more. So That's how they manipulate that. They haven't made an oil refinery in this country in like 75 years. You know, there's like unlimited amounts of oil on the planet, which is, I truly believe that. Um, so that's why they don't want to make any oil refineries, because then the supply will be increased, but the demand will not be. You know, so gas should literally be less than $1 a gallon, like always. And in some countries it's free. You know, like some of these Middle Eastern countries, there's the gas stations aren't even manned. There's just gas pumps. You just go get gas. You know, it's government funded. And anyway, I'm looking forward to coming on here and saying, hey, remember back on January 14th? I told you to do everything you could do to get that one whole coin. um, we'll see. We'll see. Supply and demand, baby. It's a driver. There's some greedy, dirty people out there, and sometimes you gotta play the game to win. And you know, if I don't win, I don't win, but it's a chance, and it's definitely it's a calculated risk that I believe is very worth taking. And so, if you don't want to risk too much, though, I highly recommend, especially my family and friends, because a tenth of a coin I think is only about $4,000 right now, $4,100. And just download one of the cryptocurrency apps and from the Google Play Store. If you get on the Play Store and just type in cryptocurrency exchange, the top one or two are very trustworthy and secure and never been robbed. And your money's going to be safe in there. I've had people. I have current friends that have had hundreds of thousands of dollars on their app on their phone, and it's safe and secure. And so um, I probably wouldn't be as interested in doing this if I was 21, but at 51, I'm just looking for some extra finances in the next. I don't have any of it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing this and stepping into retirement here as soon as I'm done paying child support in what year is it? 24. He'll be was he gonna be 14 this year or 15? He's gonna be 15 this year. So three and a half years, 3 years and 8 months. Yeah. So I'll be about 55, maybe work another year, 56, 57, and I'm looking at retire with my queen and go back to her family's area or somewhere in the tropical paradise of the Philippines and leave this. They call that the third world country over there, and in every way I can examine, having been there, there is nothing better about America, in my opinion, than the Philippines. Absolutely nothing. So, um, God bless you guys. Jesus loves you. I love you. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode.